Good morning, Cardinas RJ. Back with another video, so let's get to it. Today's random Mike Schmidt item of the day, 1989 Classic Baseball. The update edition shows Mike in his green jersey. They use the green jersey still to this day. A couple different teams will play a game during spring training on St. Patrick's Day wearing green jerseys. Notably, the Phillies and Reds both will don green on those days. Very cool card. My random Mike Schmidt item of the day. Today's random baseball item of the day. Just picked this one up. Been meaning to get these kind of historical cards, so to speak. Not what you're thinking, but I love me some baseball movies. I am on a quest to obtain a DVD copy of every movie where the main theme surrounds the game of baseball. I have a lot of them, close to 50. Several DVDs. Got a few VHS tapes still because I haven't upgraded to the DVD, or maybe even the DVD isn't available because it was a really obscure movie. But I do have quite the collection. And one of those great movies that came out a few years ago was The Rookie, starring Dennis Quaid. It was based on the story of Jim Morris. Here is Jim Morris's, so to speak, rookie card. He actually did have, you can get a couple minor league cards of Jim Morris when he first was trying to make the big leagues. So technically, you could say those were pre-rookie cards back in the early 80s, or I should say late 80s, more proper. But this is from 2000, the 2000 Bowman Chrome Jim Morris card. Really awesome. Happy to have this card. Thinking about getting graded, but there's no rush on this one. It's just an awesome card to have. There's still, even though he's as famous as he is, there's really no value to this card, but it's just a fun little thing that I have in my collection, my random baseball item of the day. Today's trivia question, going way back, well, not way back, but 1934 World Series, St. Louis Cardinals versus Detroit Tigers. Got into quite the scrum in Game 7. The Cardinals were winning. Very rowdy play at third base. Joe Medwick hit a ball. I want to say he hit the ball and ran it to a triple, but it might have been that he was just slid into third base because of the hit. Whichever ones, he slid into third base, accidentally spiked the third baseman. Now, they had issues before, during the game, and during the series, and that was about it. Big fight broke out at third base. Things eventually settled down. But when Joe Medwick went out to left field at the bottom of the inning, or I should say the top of the inning, because, no, it would have been the bottom of the inning because the Tigers were at home. People started throwing stuff at him. They wouldn't stop. You always wonder about that. They were throwing vegetables. Where do people get vegetables in the middle of a baseball game? Do they sell vegetables as snacks at the time? I don't know. But he was getting pelted with all kinds of junk, and it just wouldn't stop. And because this was the seventh game of the World Series, they weren't going to forfeit it. The commissioner at the time, Judge Landis, was there, and after a lot of cajoling, he basically said, Joe, you're going to have to come out of the game so we can finish it. I mean, that's essentially what he said. He might not have used those exact words. Landis was known for speaking his mind in a way that told people what they would do, even though he didn't say it. So anyway, Joe Medwick was pulled from the game at to start the inning. My question to you is, who trotted out to left field to take over for Joe Medwick at that time? That's the question. Who replaced Joe Medwick in the game 7 of the World Series in 1934? What you're playing for, as always, 3 awesome Hall of Fame cards. I believe this is 1987. Nope, 1986. Quaker Chewy Granola Bars, Ryan Sandberg. Cooperstown collection from 2014. Let me double check that year. Yeah, 2013. 2013 Panini Prism Cooperstown collection, Panini Cooperstown collection. Shows Roy Campanella with the Baltimore Elite Giants. Really young Roy Campanella. That's a cool one. And then Braves Hall of Fame shortstop Robert Moranville, his Hall of Fame Conlon collection card. So 3 awesome Hall of Fame cards. If you're interested in getting those cards, all you need to do is send me a guess on that question. Just shoot me an email. I will include my email in the description below along with a repeat of that question. You will have today and tomorrow to answer. We will pick a winner on Sunday, all right? Good luck to everybody on that one. So today's Kidz Korner episode, the very first Kidz Korner episode I made a couple months ago, showcased box sets. Now, you could say that really was all you needed to do. The concept of box sets still holds up, even though I already did it, but I wanted to show off another unique box set, and I'll tell you why it's a unique one in a minute, but it was the very first release by Woolworths. So Woolworths was a department store like Kmart, if you remember Kmart, a very smaller version of what we know as Walmart today, Woolworths was, and like many department stores in the mid to late 80s, they would go in with Topps and Fleer and get an exclusive set of cards made for distribution in those stores. So this is the very first. It's from 1985. Pretty sure it's 85. Here I am spouting. Yeah, 1985, the very first release of a box set at Woolworths department stores. They put a stick of gum inside with the cards. Now, this was your checklist. And what's great about this box set, and again, I'm all about my box sets, because if you want to get your kids interested in baseball cards, you want to be able to give them an inexpensive set that has the legends of the game in it. And this one has that. This one is called All-Time Record Holders. So you can imagine that, to be sure, you're going to get some all-time record holders. And there's your checklist. We're going to go through it real quick. They're not the design on the front is okay, nothing spectacular. The backs are kind of bleh. So the front is kind of this picture frame design with a kind of like a facsimile bronze nameplate at the bottom. All-time record holder, Hank Aaron of the Braves. Now these are alphabetical. If you can see there on the checklist, they're alphabetical. So Hank Aaron becomes number 1. These are the various lifetime records that Hank Aaron held in 1985 when this set was released. All right, and I'm not going to go through all the different backs. I'll just show you the cards and the names, and you'll see that this set does have the all-time greats. And for $5, these sets are easily had for $5, sometimes less, if you find them at a card show or a yard sale. But you got Grover Cleveland Alexander, Ernie Banks. I mean, they're all Hall of Famers here so far. Yogi Berra, Lou Brock, Steve Carlton, Jack Chesbro, Ty Cobb, Sam Crawford, Raleigh Fingers. I still have not found one. There are some, but they're not yet, that isn't a Hall of Famer. Whitey Ford, and here's your first guy who's not a Hall of Famer, Johnny Frederick. Now, what did Johnny Frederick do to warrant inclusion in this set? Set Major League record with 6 pinch hit home runs in 1932. That's it. That's how Johnny Frederick warranted a card in this set. Frankie Frisch, Lou Gehrig, Jim Gentile, another non-Hall of Famer, tied a Major League record with 5 Grand Slam home runs in 1961. I believe Don Mattingly eclipsed that mark. Dwight Gooden, obviously not a Hall of Famer, had a couple rookie records and strikeout records and whatnot back in his early 1984 season. Ricky Henderson, Rogers Hornsby, Frank Howard, another non-Hall of Famer, 10 home runs in 1 week, Major League record. Cliff Johnson, if you know Cliff Johnson, you know his record was pinch hit home runs. 19 pinch hit home runs. So the rest are just kind of, generic home run hitting records that a lot of people have tied. Walter Johnson. Hub Leonard set the Major League record with a 101 earned run average in 1914. 101. Hub Leonard, not Walter Johnson, not Cy Young, not Christian Mathewson, not Bob Gibson. Hub Leonard has the lowest recorded ERA qualifying. Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris. We already know what Roger Maris would be here for, although he is not in the Hall of Fame. Christy Mathewson, Willie Mays, Stan Musial, Dan Quisenberry. They do have a couple, current stars at the time. He had a saves record back in the day, obviously long since broken saves records. But you had Dan Quisenberry there and Dwight Gooden, so you do have some current players of the day. Frank Robinson, Pete Rose was still playing. Here's a great Babe Ruth card. Your kid can get Willie Mays, Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, all in the same set. Hank Aaron, Nolan Ryan, for like under $1. George Sisler, Tris Speaker, Ed Walsh, Lloyd Wainer, all Hall of Famers. Earl Webb. Here's another non-Hall of Famer. What did Earl Webb do? 67 doubles in 1931. That was the Major League standard. Ted Williams, Maury Wills, obviously is going to be the steals record. Brock eventually broke that, didn't he? Oh no, it doesn't have a set. He set the league, set the record by leading the league in stolen bases 6 consecutive seasons. Yeah, he did obviously recorded 104 stolen bases, 662. That was the record until obviously Lou Brock broke it, and then eventually Ricky Henderson. Hack Wilson, Hall of Famer. Owen Wilson, another non-Hall of Famer, Major League record with 36 triples. Willie Wilson, I believe Willie Wilson's was number of hits in a season, if I remember correctly. 705 at-bats, and then 184 singles. So he had a couple ones. I got to get a replacement card for this one. This one's all chewed up a bit. Rudy York had a couple different records, 18 in home runs in August, and other kind of silly things like that, and then Cy Young. So 44 cards in this set. Now, why do I say this one is unique and worthy of consideration for adding into your collection? It has a very distinct feature to it that no other card set ever produced has. And I will show you that in 1 second. So this is the Topps Woolworths all-time record holders issued in 1985. Here is the box. There is the copyright date right up top there, 1985. Here is a card with a copyright date, 1985, TCG, Topps Gum Company, Topps Company Gum. So now, I believe it was 1987. Yep, in 1987, there was a amusement park kind of thing. Don't know where it was, called Boardwalk and Baseball Inc. Now, Boardwalk and Baseball had another set released a couple of years later, I believe a 1989 set that's more well-known than this one. This box set is very hard to find. It's much harder to find than this box set. But it's not the set that's important, it's this box. Why do I say that? If you open up this set of cards, you will find the exact same set. Now, it's more than that. I mean, it's a lot more than that. Not only is it the exact same set, it is literally the exact same set. When Boardwalk and Baseball issued this set, I'm assuming they had, I'm assuming Topps and Woolworth had millions of these sets left over, and that Boardwalk and Baseball bought all those sets and repackaged them. Why? The sets are still copyright 1985. And the box, again, is copyright 1987. And the checklist, of course, is exactly the same to a T. So the exact same set was packaged 2 different years, separated by 2 years. I mean, I think we all know of times when the publication date or the copyright date was 1 year, and that 1 year was actually off of the release date of the product, mostly because they would print it in the end of December for release the following year, or they would, well, that's pretty much what happens. You get these sets that are printed late in the calendar year for release the following year, and they have a date that doesn't match the release date. This one is the only time I know of any card release where the same exact set with the same exact copyright date was released in 2 non-consecutive years. Very odd. But again, what's great about this set, again, this is Kidz Korner. Again, I repeat my statement that I don't know if anybody's really watching this. I don't know if anybody's being inspired to collect because of what I'm saying, but I'm trying to showcase items that have a significant interest for collectors, and a set like this with all these Hall of Famers, how can that not have interest to collectors? And then the uniqueness of this being released the way it was, how could that not have interest for modern and vintage collectors? I'm just trying to pique the interest of kids in baseball by doing what I'm doing, and I'm hoping I'm making a dent. Don't know. I'm going to keep doing it because I'm doing my part. That's all I got to say. All right. Appreciate you all watching. Don't forget the trivia question. We've got one more on Friday, and then come back on Sunday for the trivia recap. Again, a reminder, I will be at the Philly show this Saturday and at the YouTube meet and greet Saturday evening. Would love to see you there. Check out Ray from Philly's channel for more details. Thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your week. Take care.